Sally, great to see you this morning.
Nice
You're
to see
here
you, David.
in Colin Bowe's yard looking at a daughter of Authorised that you have here,
Yes,
Colin.
that's it. And actually, I bought her at the Derby sales, and actually, because I was in Florida at the time, I asked Henry to buy her for me, and he did.
We'll go back a little bit closer to the start, where it all started for you.
Okay.
You have an interesting story from New York, moved to the UK.
That's it, in 1986.
You got horses and you had them in training with No Chance.
With No Chance,
River
exactly.
City was obviously the standout horse
He
that
was
you
the
had at the
standout
time.
horse, yes, indeed.
And then to skip on along then, tell us how your association came about with Henry de Bromhead.
I'd had horses in training, as we say, in the UK for some time, and then I just decided I wanted a change of scene in terms of trainer, and at the time I was running marathons, and so I was at Cheltenham, and I just ran down from my friends who lived on Cleve Hill down to the middle of the track, and Henry was there with Sizing Europe, and I just ran over to him and introduced myself, and then a few months later I went over to visit. And when I was there visiting, it happened to be that he had Special Tiara, who I saw, and I was able to buy him at the time. So that was the beginning, and that was 12 years ago.
And Special Tiara's beginning, like what Colin does here with his horses, he started off in a point-to-point, was beaten in a maiden point-to-point in Boulta, and he had a couple of runs in maiden hurdles, and then you came about buying him.
I did come about buying him, and I bought him after I verbally said yes, subject to the following Monday when I was going back to the UK. He was running in his first beginner chase, and he went to Ballinrobe. He jumped around there like a bunny. He beat a horse that had been fourth in the county hurdle, and I thought, okay, well that's probably pretty good, and so I bought him. Before I got out of the Ladbrokes, I'd bought him.
And it just shows you that you never know what can happen, but he did fail the vet as well. He
failed the vet on his wind, and in fact, after I bought him, I had a vet do his wind, and the vet who did the wind wasn't the same vet who failed him, and he said to me that he wouldn't have failed him if he'd vetted him, so I was just very lucky.
Okay, and then obviously everybody knows the story, Champion Chase winners, Celebration Chase, Desert Orchid Chase,
Yes.
What a career he had, what an unbelievable horse. And I suppose the one thing I always remember about him was Noel Feely had such a great association with the horse.
He did, and it was a great hookup. And before that, Barry Garrity had ridden him successfully. You know, a number of different jockeys. Brian Cooper had never sat on him when he won the McGull at Liverpool at Aintree on the Grand National Day, which was his first Grade 1. Yeah, he'd never sat on him, and he gave him a brilliant ride. But Noel it was just an amazing partnership, and I'm forever grateful to Noel. He's such a good man, and I'm thrilled with the success that he has now with his business. So it's wonderful.
David Cross.
Yeah.
You're back now living in America. You made the right decision, go back to the heat in South Florida.
That's it.
And you're over here to see your horse with Colin and to go down and see your horse with Henry as well.
Yeah, and I actually was here for the sales. I was at Tattersall's, Ireland, selling a yearling, and I'll be back in November for both the National Hunt and the flat sale. So I'm breeding now too, as well as owning racehorses. So I've got a few to sell in November, so I'll be back then. And depending what happens with either the horses I own or the horses I breed, I'll come over if they're in a good race. So it's exciting.
You're deeply invested now.
I am very deeply invested, both emotionally as well as with my wallet.
And how did you come about hooking up with Colin then? How did this start?
It was an introduction really through Henry de Bromhead, actually, because Henry has gotten more successful, and so rather than having store horses, he likes the idea of Colin really educating them. And he'd even said to me way back when, even if they don't end up racing, it's just a great education. But of course, once they're here, then you do want them to race. And I've had great luck. I have my third horse here with Colin. The first two were winners. And hopefully this one will be a winner too, and she goes out soon.
As I mentioned, a daughter of Authorised. What's her name?
Her name is Rosetta.
Okay.
Rosetta. Beginning of Authorised, or end of Authorised, and yeah.
She jumps very well, as I seen Barry O'Neill's riding her there this morning. So she's a nice, straightforward filly, isn't she?
Seemingly so, and seemingly pretty intelligent about it all. So, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
And then whatever happens with her when she runs in a maiden point-to-point, she'll then move to Henry then.
She'll go to Henry for sure. Yeah. And whether she goes bumper route or maiden hurdle to start, we'll see. She's only 4, so we may do some bumpers and give her a bit more time before she comes up against the big girls, in the hurdles. So we'll see. It's exciting.
You must love coming over here. I know we have the bad weather, but
no, it's worth it.
It's all about the horses for
It's
you.
all about the horses. It's what I say to my friends in Florida. I go to see the other Sally, which for me is the real Sally, being here with the horses in Ireland.
And do you think you'll get over to see her when she runs in a point?
I hope so. It'd be great if I could. I'll certainly try.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Good.
I'll certainly try.
Well, Sally, it's great meeting you this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very best of luck with this filly and your other horses.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. Thank you.
And the breeding operation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.